What the funk is happening, y'all?
Oh my. Please you can give me the funkin' business and everything else. My apologies. I thought it was in about 20 minutes and I paced myself accordingly.
You didn't have to say anything. They would have never known.
Oh, is that
This
right?
is this is us coming on right here.
Oh, but I saw that when I looked at the link, it said 8 o'clock. It said 8 o'clock, and I'm like, oh no,
Yeah.
I'm letting down Brian share, man.
What's up, Traveler? What's up, Josh? Hey, Lisa, how you guys doing? Welcome back to the Beyond the Algorithm that Hannibal and I created 30 months ago. We did a season. And then I said, I'll bring it back. And so Hannibal launched it with me again last week. I was trying
Mhm.
to find the footing, but I think I got it back. It just took going through that whole night. And it was him and I on every episode before. This whole thing is different people every week. And I
Mhm.
was like, what was different about Beyond the Algorithm? Because there was something different about the vibe. And I got it now. It's to avoid the talk of all the norm apps, period.
Okay.
Because that was the
Okay.
point of it. So but I mean, not even to let it creep. If somebody's like, DoorDash question, it's like, no, take it somewhere else, you know?
Mhm.
So it's literally, I mean, we're open to hearing about, like new things that you guys find. Bring it up, you know?
Mhm.
Tonight I got
Is
Mr.
that me or
Geezer
you
with me,
there?
Mr. Gig Geezer.
Okay.
And he's the perfect guest for this week's episode, which is, how to take it to the next level. We talk about it from time to time. And I know he's been, and the timing's perfect because I mean, he's dropped videos like this before. I mean, you've been doing it for a while, but I've seen more and more about like really like, okay, this. I mean, hell, who knows? Maybe he's on his way to a fleet um, at some point. I mean, I don't know. You seem to know a lot of people in the B2B space who do the larger loads. I know some people in the B2B space big time, but they all are in vehicles like my size. And I've talked to you a few times about I've wanted to up my game, and by that I even mean potentially going to a bigger vehicle. But then I've looked at my market at times, and because I'm tight with the Curry team, and that's not how I would base it on that app alone. I've said to them, "Hey, is it a good time to get a Sprinter's too expensive, but like a cargo van?" Or and then they've said things to me like, "You know what we need right now in your market? Pickup trucks with pipe racks. Like if you have that, you'll make bank." So okay. I mean, I didn't do it. I didn't have the money to do it at the time, but that's a good feeler for me in my market because it's hands down the most offers in a day come through Curry. So, oh shit, we lost him. What's a used cargo van go for today? I don't have a clue, man, because they don't write because they don't make them new. They make the Sprinter vans. So I don't know, Josh. Um, and that's the thing. I think it would be used. I don't even know if cargo van is something that any company makes anymore because of all the Sprinters. I don't know if I think every one you buy would have to be a used one. So I think you're right there, but I don't know what they would go for. Geezer's got one, so when he comes back, we'll ask him. I don't know how we lost him there. What's up, Bubba Sue? How you doing? You guys, I've had a crazy day. I had a big delivered order, and it was downtown. I hate going downtown. Crazy story of its own. And then I had this thing that's been planned for about a week. Ran about an hour and a half, and we were backstage for about a half hour, and after for about a half hour with Kim Cavan and Mike Harubi about uh, New Jersey. And if you didn't make it through that whole piece, I do suggest you go watch it. Everybody that I mean, the gig apps are being attacked majorly. We did talk about a lot of other things too, but they're even in the actual writing, the actual what's being pushed for the first time ever has people who work on gig app drivers are in the New Jersey legislation to kill off 1.7 million independent contractors. But we have Kim Cavan there. Kim Cavan also is she's fighting on many levels right now for us, and she told us today. And then we had Mike Harubi for the legislative side, so that was awesome. Um,
My my apologies there. It looked
no
like
worries.
my system, at least my end, the server just did some stupid shit there. And so I restarted my computer. So hopefully we won't have any problems like that again.
Yeah, no worries. I was just telling them I had a crazy delivered today, and I had to go to
Mhm.
Kim because I've told you before too. I have 25 years in the bar and restaurant business. You know,
Right.
bar back, dishwasher, cook, bartender, waiter, manager, owner of 2 bars in Denver, or part owner of 2 different bars. I've been in it for a long time. Since my first years in college, I was bartending. Um,
It's
so
going back there.
when I'm thanks, man. Calling me old? Um, but so as a server, you know, if I'm doing $1,300 or $1,400 worth of food, where is the oh, geezer might be frozen, I think. Yeah. Take your screenshots while you can. Um, well, I do caterings, Josh, but the only reason I did this one was because it was $100. Now I had to ask Kim, and Kim's explanation made sense to me. I know that she lives in a decent sized city, but it's not Denver. I mean, everybody would have to take the biggest city in their state and compare it to the city I live in when I have to go downtown. This one was too downtown. The miles were low, but it was like $1,400. It was from a ghost kitchen that I go to for delivered often, but usually they're not going downtown, and they're for like paying me like 40, $45, right? So this one was paying $100. And of course I'm thinking, take it. It's 3 miles, right? Um, I took it, but I asked Kim too, and I was like, "Hey, would you have taken this?" She's like, "Absolutely. That's an hour's work for $100." I can see it that way. It did end up being 2 hours. Again, you gotta know your market. I already knew from looking where it was going right in the middle of downtown. I had to go into it was the 25th, the entire 25th floor. You need security badges. You need to go down into security and all the it's just a crazy adventure. It took about 2 hours, little short of 2 hours total, which is still $50 an hour. That's fair. I'm happy with that. That's good. Um, but you know, it was when I was a server, I didn't have to use my car. And if I had like a 10 top watching like a college football game and they spent $1,300 on food, just even food, wouldn't even have to be drinks, just food alone. If they spent $1,300, whoops. Okay. Yeah, if they spent $1,300 for food and I'm doing the server, I would I never made less. I mean, I said 200 earlier today, but I got to say, I don't think if I had a table of 1,300 watching coming in for a college football game, taking up an hour and a half, 2 hours of my time, which is what this delivered order took, plus use of my car. But I don't think I ever made less than 250 on a table that did $1,300 subtotal in tips. Now today I took that order and yeah, of course it sounds good. And to some people they said that'll just be an hour's worth of work. It wasn't. It was 2. I knew it was going to be more because I live in Denver. I had to go to the heart of Denver to deliver it. 25 stories, go through security, all the steps. But it took 2 hours. I made $100. That's good money. But my problem with it was, and it's not even a problem, I'd do it again. But the thing is when I was a server or a bartender, but I have to put it in server terms here, I would have expected 200 to 250 minimal on a $1,300 check in tips. So it's hard for me to see $50 base pay, $50 in tips when I delivered 49 bowls from this Lulu Bowls place from a ghost kitchen to the 25th floor of a downtown building where the company that ordered it was the entire floor. Come on, guys, you can only tip me $50.
And you said a $1,300 order?
Yeah, and not and like so I know that a lot of these people who do catering and even you're gonna, 13, okay. I've taken like, I've taken 8, 900 before, and it was like a quarter to a third of what this was. This was all individual bowls. I literally have never used every bag I have. I had to use every bag I have. Luckily, the place where I had to get security clearance to get into the building was like, "Do you have a cart?" And all I had was my normal little cart for catering. I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Is it big?" I'm like, "No." And they were like, "Use this one." And it took up the whole metal one. And it was like an industrial size cart. I mean, like this was huge. And when I laid all my bags out on it, it was that. To me, that much work in using my car, going through a security, giving them my ID, which means, and I hate to say this, but I saw a bunch at the Ghost Kitchen today, which means a bunch of illegal accounts can't go there because they don't have IDs that match their accounts. So maybe that's part of the reason why I got it too, because I'm not an Emerald driver. So I don't know why that order came to me, but I made $100. I'd do it. I'm happy with it, but I don't know. I even said to Tim Eggwise does the most, and he was like, "No, he goes, I get what you're saying." He's like, but that's a good order.
I would not have done it. I mean, I say that 90% of the time I would not have done it. If it was $1,300 and you only got 100, I'd pass. Yeah, and I've talked about that. Now, like I said, 90% of the time. In fact, I did a video in which I said I took a catering order in which I normally would not do, but it was a part of an overall strategy of the day because some other shit didn't go the way I would like. But you know what? Is that gonna really force a change with Delivered or the other apps, Zifty or Delivered? That probably not.
And that's the other thing. I don't have where's my phone right in front of me, but Bubba Sue's asking, was it ezCater? It was not an ezCater order. It was actually one I know it's a main one, but it's kind of a newer main one, I believe. My phone's right here. I need to see what it was. I need to be able to tell you guys what it was because they were texting me too, which I was like, what's going on? And then I texted Frederick with Delivered and I was explaining because they were 20 minutes late on the food. So this place is reaching out to me too. And they're like, where are you? And I'm like, huh? Like, why are you bothering me?
What I'm saying is that most of them are now tied into ezCater and they are, ezCater is really harping on them about, being on time or just being in the loop about what's going on, whether we like it or not. And they also have been, they forced the other companies to bend the knee in terms of how we're paid now with that commission, that pay structure as well. I first saw that pay structure through Deliver that, and then I've seen Delivered do the same thing. Stuff that used to $1,300 order could conceivably pay well over $200. Now it may pay 100 and it may pay 130.
Yeah,
but then again, I will say this, and I apologize about this. Last Friday I did a catering order. It was considered, it was not. It actually the dollar amount was like $900+, but I earned 150 on it. Go figure.
So Bubba Sue's saying that's why the tip was 100. Wait, are you talking to me? Because I'll tell you this is that it was broke down. The company that it is called Cater to Me, like cater the number 2.me.
Okay.
So their website is a .me and it's cater to the number 2, not written out. I've never heard of them, or maybe I've heard of them, but I don't think I've ever taken one from them before. Their area code is 310. I know that to be LA.
Right, Inglewood.
And so, I'm not real familiar, but they're texting me. I'm texting with Frederick. It's like, where are my answers supposed to go? You guys, I don't mean to always be complaining. There's just a lot to complain about.
A lot of uncertainty. So goddamn it, hey, I need to know what the hell's going on. Who's Fred?
Right,
who are you?
But why am I so look, so here's where is it even started today? Because I'm breaking down the whole thing for them, right? Oh, so here it is. Okay. It starts right here, and I'm just gonna kind of show you how it goes. Look how long that is with Frederick.
Well, Fred is the so-called bot that assigns us or at least attempts signing us orders on Delivered. So,
and it's also their template for AI answers.
Okay, so Fred's a son of a bitch, in my opinion. So,
but at the same time, I'm getting a text from an unknown number in the 310. I'm just ignoring it at the time because I'm thinking spam. I'll deal with that later, right? I didn't even read it. I'm just dealing with Frederick and waiting for my order. And then it's a big order, and then it's a little late, but it's not my fault. Frederick, I think it might have dinged me because after the fact, I got a text from this caterer to me and said, "Did you ever deliver that today?" And it was like an hour ago. And I delivered it like 7 hours ago. And I'm like, yeah. And I uploaded my pictures to Delivered, and I've been communicating with Delivered directly. I said, but here's my question. Where does it end? Because why is Cater to Me talking to me? I've never liked these apps that do. Only time I've seen it really happen like this is with and it's not even a gig app, Cartwheel. Cartwheel in every state hosts different delivery companies. So a lot of times they give them your information. You're using the Cartwheel app and you're like, why is King Courier Services reaching out to me? I don't know these guys. And they're like, because we use Cartwheel software. But why is Delivered giving our numbers to Cater to Me if they're the responsible DSP for the job, and they're communicating with me in real time? Frederick, like, it's on me. We're in sync. We're figuring this out. Why is Cater to Me going, hey, did you deliver this, and sending me texts while I'm on the order?
Your guess is as good as mine.
I mean, to me, I almost feel like, hey, Delivered, why are you giving our information out to Cater to Me?
Unless Delivered has something to do with Cater to Me, in that their platform is Delivered. Their Cater to Me's platform is powered by Delivered.
No, I don't think it is, because, well, I mean, I guess I don't know, but I don't think it is.
Okay.
Because they were definitely not synced up at all. Like, they were asking me questions that I had answered with Delivered, and then I sent a message to Delivered, and how it says, like, immediately, like, we're busy, we'll get back to you. Hi, Frederick. And then it said that after all the other conversation, and it came back and it said, Delivered, after the fact, when I was going back to say, why are they reaching out to me, Delivered said, did you get the delivery done? I was like, what the hell are you guys doing over there?
You're a better person than I am, Steve. And I'll just leave it at that. As you've already heard my mouth in a few minutes, you're a better person than I am.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's true. But I mean, why? What would you have done?
I would have been cursing them out. Simple as that. I would not have been nice whatsoever. So that's why I'm saying
I just try, man. I know that, I would love to blow on them, but what good does it do? You're not talking to anybody that cares. Or, I mean, they might care a little, but they don't have say or anything.
That is true. That is true. You're so right, man. But at the same time, I guess it's just, maybe that's just something that's maybe I've been telling some folk about certain traits my mother had. Actually, I could say this to both my parents, though, but both of them were hotheads. I've gotten better over the decades, but my mother in particular had lit into them. And so I think that's what it is. I really would have lit into them for just what it amounts to is this dysfunction and disconnect, because they want us to be professional in the way we go about doing things. Where's the professionalism in what they're doing based on what you're telling me?
Yeah. No, and I mean, please tell me, because I know the Delivered team. I know them well. I know both the Chris's. I know the CEO. I know the CTO. I've been on their beta. I'm on their beta testing team.
Well, damn. You got their ear, man. God damn.
I know, but you know what? But here's the thing with the beta testing team I'm on with 11 other people. Tim Gigwise is on it too. They're all Emerald. They're all Emerald status. I'm not. So I'm the one who causes some fire in that room sometimes. And then everybody's like, calm down. And I'm like, I don't get $500 like you guys. So I'm like, so you chill out. You want to come live? You want to come live how I live on this app? Come on. Because I mean, if I was getting 500 too, I feel like and it's not Tim. Tim's not this way at all. And I mean that, but there's a couple people in there who are just kiss asses to the T.
Of course.
I'll get a beta update and I'm like, this sucks, dude. I'm like, what the hell is this? And they're like, they'll come in and say something to me, and it's led by the other Chris who runs Delivered, not Chris Heffernan, but the other one. The group is run by him. He should be answering. It's the same thing as these texts. Why is a beta tester yelling or telling me to zip it? I actually have questions because I don't get $500 offers every day. So guess what? I don't get to do a pajama delivery and go home, go back to bed.
No.
So
Okay. Well,
I have to grind
I
and
know
hustle.
I know what you're saying. You know, when you talk about those guys, I mean, I'm kind of telling on myself though, but yeah, there used to be a time that I was able to interact with some of those folk on a first name basis, and if I get in contact with them, they answered my phone and all that stuff. But now I'm just another person. Hence is the reason, and I apologize for kind of venturing away with this, but that experience is one of the reasons why I don't make mention to many of the apps by name, because it's like once they got the attention that they were craving by us content creators, you became just another person to them, and they went on to somebody else getting that new type of attention, like a market, entering into a new market by getting new outreach from another content creator. So that's why I don't like giving these apps any attention, any more attention than what they deserve to get.
Well, these guys have been good to me. I've participated in a few beta teams. So, I mean, because of Adam on the podcast, and they know that my audio podcast can actually hurt companies. So why would they want that? I don't do it. Look, I'm like you. If I don't, I try and practice. If I don't have anything nice to say, I'm not going to directly take your name and throw it under the bus, Senpex. But
right. Well, are you sure? I just did that with a goddamn distributor to try to hit me for $200 for reasons I have no fucking idea. But I got that $200 back in my account.
I saw that was a booker, right?
Apparently,
I saw your video. Did I see it right?
Yeah, he's supposedly a broker and a dispatcher and a carrier. Supposedly multiple facets, but apparently he just went about things the wrong way, thinking that somebody was just gonna, go along with that shit. And no, we don't do that. We just don't do that, man. So, yeah. But crooks are out there, man. Crooks are smart. Crooks will do things that, I know that we're talking about something else, but crooks are very imaginative and creative, and that's that. And a lot of crooks are very smart people. It's as simple as that. They're smart. They're good. They're very convincing. They sound good. You kind of check them out halfway, and it looks okay. It sounds okay, but then something gets you from the backside. You're like, all right, I know how to deal with these people now.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because, there's, I don't know. I feel like it's, I don't know. There's like gurus out there who like sell dead money. Have you ever heard of this stuff? Like dinar and the Iraqi dinar and the, okay. So they sell this in the chance that it revalues. Now I happen to know a little bit about the money market. It's the currency's dead. It's collectible now. But they've been talked into this, and they buy it by the boxes, and they listen to these people. And I'm just like, all I think about in the gig economy is TRYP, TRYP. They were in Texas, and at first it sounded great to everybody. I don't live in Texas, but I was from the outside. I was evaluating. I'm like, this company is shady as can be. Their logo was a pyramid. It might as well have said scheme underneath it. It was.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. It was a pyramid. But
okay.
it was one of those,
or Ponzi.
right. So it was pay this. It was you get 90% of all your ride shares on the platform. Cool. Great. And you pay $9.99 a month. If you get 5 people to get on, you don't have to pay. So one of those, and what ended up happening was, and no joke, I think that at their best stat, it was like 4 to 5. It got ridiculous, maybe even more actually, but let's just call it 5. I know that's a safe number. Like 5 drivers to every 1 passenger who's even on the app, not currently, not at any given time, just period. So if they had 250 drivers, they had 50 passengers who had signed up. Kind of thing.
That's a lot of crows. It's a lot of crows chomping at the corn.
And then But let's multiply that by a lot, because I don't know how many drivers and passengers they had. What I'm just mentioning is I just wanted to give people a ratio of how bad it was. They made something look awesome. Look at this shiny diamond, and hey, just like Amway, go get 5 of your friends and sign them up, and we'll send you a bunch of soap, and you just got to sell it all. We'll bring you a whole garage full.
Dude, I actually tried that shit 40 years ago. I was a poor college student at Texas Southern, and someone tried to talk me into doing that, and I couldn't get nobody. I think one person bought some soap. One person bought some soap. And everybody else, my wife does it. My wife does the shopping around. You gotta talk to her. Or, oh yeah, we're in it too. I'm like, well, damn, everybody's in that way. Why am I doing this shit? So
I can tell you this. My cousin is very smart. She lives in Virginia Beach. Her mom, my aunt, my mom's sister, they both live there, and they do Amway, and Amway does these like conventions.
Yes,
where they, and I'm not kidding. For those of you
they
that don't
break
know,
out with the
Geezer's probably
patriotic.
gonna know.
They break out with the patriotic music and all that stuff.
But they keep you up like a Vegas casino. I mean, they keep you up 24 hours round the clock for like 3 days, so that you make the worst decisions on the third day.
Wow.
I mean, they've told us about this, and I mean, my aunt has been doing it for like 15 years. I think she does some business, but she has grinded her ass off to make that little tiny nut. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why? And why are you so still involved?
Are there people that actually make money doing that now? I mean, all the people who really make their money, it was like 30, 40 years ago.
Well,
And maybe they're...
Okay, so 15 years ago, she was getting clients. They still are hers. I mean, my family's all from Michigan, so probably most of her clients are from Michigan. And who knows, maybe Amway sounds great. Oh, cool. I don't have to go to the store. I can get a year's worth of laundry detergent.
Well, let's see, the DeVos and what's the other guy's name? Van Arsdale. Weren't they from Michigan? The founders?
No idea.
Weren't they from Michigan? If memory serves me correct, I think they were from Michigan.
I mean, because that was one of the original. What's the 3-letter acronym for marketing scam?
Network marketing. That's all I remember. Network marketing.
M something M, or is what, and now it got all cyber and whatnot. But Amway's the first one I remember. That is the first scam I remember.
Oh boy.
That's when I got turned on to what a scam was, what the long game scam was. Because I was thinking to myself, I never bought an Amway product in my life. I see my cousin, and she was actually trying to sell me. And I'm thinking, I actually said to her, I was like, are you truly trying to sell me Amway? And I'd never used an Amway product, but I knew not to get into that stupid cult because, I mean, I don't want to be, I know that they have like PARs on you and they send you way more than you'll ever sell. So you use it yourself. You end up paying for everything yourself.
There was a guy, now, again, I'm dating myself from 40 years ago. There was a guy who worked I've never shared this story. In fact, this guy worked for the school's police department. And he was so hook, line, and sinkered. The Amway actually had phone booths that they were peddling. Actual phone booths. And he actually convinced a couple of places to install the payphones outside their stores. I mean, I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if he's dead or alive or anything, but this dude actually succeeded with peddling a couple phone booths at a couple stores in Houston.
Yeah, it's like the selling phone cards thing. There was another MLM scam. I guess it's multi-level marketing. That's what I was.
Yeah, that's it. Multi-level marketing. That's it. Multi-level marketing. Okay.
Which is just also needs to be reworded because it sounds very professional, and you're not multi-level marketing. You're low-level funking.
Translated, y'all. He's being nice. just pure bullshit. Just bullshit.
But so Josh even says too, or he went to one of those MLMs 20 years ago, saw right through it. Was it Amway? I don't know.
Well, there was also Excel. They were like a phone provider. This was like 20 years ago. XL, they went out of business, but
Oh, was it like answering services and stuff? And
no, it wasn't answering service. This is actual, like, like the old Sprint, where you Sprint was like a long distance service, competing long distance service.
yeah,
Um,
most
XL
people
was
won't,
like
but I
that.
do.
Huh?
Most people probably won't, but I do. So yes, by the way, guys, what he's saying is right. Sprint used to be just the long distance portion, or you would tie that on to your plan.
Right. Yeah, that was like the main one. And XL was one of those types where if you get on with them, you're supposed to save money from like your I guess well, who does landline anymore? Who does landlines anymore now?
I don't know. Businesses. And why, I don't know. Conference call reasons.
Well, whatever was the prevailing landline service 20 years ago, they were like one of those disruptors, but they didn't last long. They went out of business. But the people who made their money were the ones who tried to get you into buying, like Mary Kay, like Avon. You make your money with the starter packets. If they can get you in with the starter packets, that's where they make their money. It's not always about the product; it's the starter packets. So if you bought
I don't know. Can people argue that Mary Kay or anything else like that, people don't make money on that one? Maybe some people do. People are
look at those pink. You look at those pink vehicles.
You're more happy to give your money to good-looking women. It's like a strip club.
Actually, I could tell you, as an insurance agent, I heard how dudes would, if the woman came in dressed a certain way, they could clean up doing like Aflac, the ancillary stuff. But if you ever pay attention at the doctor's office, you may notice that most of your med reps are women.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've done laser shows for actually we did like 5 in a row for dentist conventions across the country in 1999. Every salesperson for every dentist and every dental thing was a woman. I didn't see one man, not one. And yet only dentists are either women or men, but everybody else in the dentist office is always a woman. The hygienist, the person checking you out, making appointments. So why, that doesn't even make sense to me. Why send the woman in? Wouldn't you want a man with all the women? Who a lot of those dental hygienists are the ones making the decisions.
Well, it's because the dentist is typically by tradition.
Yeah.
But, hey, look, that's a tree I'm not going to bark up. Okay. That's not a tree I'm going to bark up. But
this doesn't even relate, Lisa.
Huh?
Lisa's comment doesn't even relate. That's taking it too far. Okay. So no more Amway, no more marketing multi-level crap. Instead, we were talking about, though, that pay. I will say I'm happy to make that $100 in an hour. If it hadn't been downtown, it would have been an hour. It was downtown. It involved a lot of security. So it took 2 hours. I'm still happy. But I do look back and think, yeah, I don't get a 5 or a 12, 13 top every time I'm a server. But like on Saturday and Sunday mornings during football and whatnot, and baseball being across the street from the stadium downtown when I worked, yeah, we did. And a tip would be $250 on a table like that for like an hour and a half. Now it took me 2 hours. So same time, actually probably less time in the restaurant. And that just involves me walking to the kitchen and back. In this case, I'm putting my car at risk. I'm all kinds of things. And I say because I'm going down to a loading dock too, and into security, and things happen down there.
Well, you know what, I often say this, but hey, food is heavy, man. And when you have those big orders, you haul in a bunch of stuff. That's not I do work a sweat with some of those orders. I do more, I've done more than my share of the large orders to say that. But the only thing is that I'm not going to try to justify. I'm not going to justify what I did in by measurement of time. I mean, I earned what I earned, and I just move on. That's
Mhm.
again, that's just my way of accounting for what I'm doing. It's I know that okay, it's X number of miles away. No big deal. I know that typically typically I kind of have an idea where I'm going. The location. The only thing that what I am most surprised is, or I am most surprised or more appreciative of is when someone is there who has an idea of how they want things put out. And I'll often come in saying, "Hey, look, I know that y'all often have a method to your madness or rhyme to your reason, and so I'll yield to you how you want things set up." And that makes it so much easier.
So Josh was asking when you lost your stream a little bit ago and you came back,
Mhm.
he was asking while I was telling that delivered story this same question, because I was saying I don't think I maybe I'm wrong. I don't think cargo vans are made anymore, even because of Sprinter vans and other things. So you
Right.
have to buy them used. So Josh is wondering what is a used? Can you and
I
can you
attempted
find
to
them?
answer.
Finding a car these days is tough.
I attempted to answer that, and I guess that's when I lost my internet. Apparently that's what it is. I had internet issues, and so I'm on my phone, y'all. So that's just how determined I am to participate with Steve. So he's Steve and I, we funk brothers. We funk brothers in that regard. But anyway, to answer the question, um, I don't have an answer in terms of what is a price range because I just don't. What I will tell you though is that it's my understanding that the prices for vehicles, particularly used vehicles in the Sprinter van space, is less than what it was when I purchased my van or made transaction for my van back in December 2022. The demand, the craze to get one is not as it was 3 years ago. So you may be able to find them for much less than what I did. My van, the sticker price when I got it was 35,000. It was 3 years old, 2019 at the time. It had 60,000 miles. That same van, comparatively speaking, I probably could. I'm pretty sure I could find that for somewhere between 20 and 25,000 now.
What year is yours?
Mine is a 2019. So what I'm saying is, comparatively speaking, if I were to try to look for a 2021, which would be pretty close, okay,
Okay.
that same van with 60,000 miles, I'm pretty confident to say I could probably, if I look hard enough, I could probably find one for 25.
So I saw one parked on the side of a pretty public road. I pulled up to
Mhm.
it. It had a for sale sign. It was in like a empty-ish parking lot facing towards the road. I pulled around just to look, and it was a 2022 with 100,000 miles. It was Ford, I believe. Is it a Ford Transit, a Sprinter?
Mhm.
Okay. It looked in great shape. It was like prime black. I looked inside and the back was like shelled nice. It was in great shape, unless there was
Mhm.
something wrong. But they wanted 70 grand.
Uh,
That's a used one with 100,000 miles.
no, they
I mean,
vans don't
it
appreciate
might
it.
have been, maybe they were abusing when they were hard to come by, because there was a minute where it was a thing,
Right. And that's the
like you were
thing. It was
talking
hard to find. It was hard to find vans back 3 years ago. So that's why I think the market was the way it was. Um, but 70,000, I keep moving. I
Yeah. Oh,
really
yeah,
would.
yeah. I mean, I didn't. Maybe I did call. I think I called because I was with, actually I was with the Driven Dad. Tony and I
Mhm.
were going out to Mexican food, and
Mhm.
you guys all know the Driven Dad. And so we pulled around to look at it, and I was like, he's like, "What the?" And so I actually called the number just because were on our way to dinner, and I actually called the number, and I was like, "How much is this?" And I said, "Is there 100,000 miles on this?" Yep, yep, yep. It's in great running shape. Okay, how much is it? 70K firm. And I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Well, was it an actual? See, here's the thing. Now, some folk use those as like camper vans. They model them as camper vans. That's the only thing that I could think of. If it's like the way I use it, shit, oh man, I keep moving. But even then, that's a lot. That is a lot. Even if it's for one of those like camper vans or livable vans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, here's one thing that I mentioned in a recent video. A lot of folk, I've had people to tell me, "Oh, what you're talking about is not a Sprinter van." They're talking about because does not say Mercedes Sprinter. It's not a Sprinter van. So what I broke down in a recent video is that the vans like the one that I have, the Transit van, the medium and the higher roof vans, even with the Dodge Rams with the medium or higher roof vans, those are Sprinter class vans, and for obvious reasons. Now you mentioned about cargo van. The reason why those are cargo van because they're used for like cargo type purposes for heavier payloads. And traditionally, those vans had 8-cylinder engines.
Mm-hmm.
The Sprinter vans have 6-cylinder engines. So they're geared for better gas mileage. They're geared for economy, but also the ability to transport things similar to a true cargo van. Just an observation that people don't even talk about.
Right, like Gigwise here is saying he's in St. Louis. He's saying that he paid $15,000 for a 2013 with 78,000.
Mm-hmm. So
that sounds like a good deal. I know Tim. We talked, so I know he's put a few bucks into it too. So
right, a Chevy Express. So he has like the 2500, 3500 chassis. That's probably got a V8 engine. That's a cargo van. What he's got, that's a cargo van. It's got the lower roof, what I call the squattier build, but it's got a larger payload. Yeah.
Yeah. So as we say that, we've talked about some prices here. You have even though it's not a Mercedes, come on. And by the way, every time I drive to Boulder to see my mom, halfway there at Broomfield is a Mercedes dealer that only does vans, and they have like 200-300 in the lot right there off Highway 36. So everybody always waits for when we get our June, July hailstorms, because every car place does hail sales like the following Monday. And like if the dealership next to it selling cars normally takes off like $8-9 grand, like they won't, or maybe they do now, but like we had a major one last summer. I went in there and they didn't have any sales at all, and they were dented to hell.
And people still bought them?
I don't know. I mean, there's always 170 out there. How do I know? I mean, but at the same time, how are you paying the lease if you're not selling these?
Service department, because those things require servicing. And if you get a warranty, you would void out the warranty, as with most Mercedes. If you go somewhere else to get an oil change, you void out the warranty. If you do any type of work, you void out the warranty. So the service department is as with most dealerships, it's the service department that really is the money maker.
Yeah. So, I guess the last thing I did want to mention here is that somebody was saying that, Traveler was saying you can get a new one for less than $70,000, a new Sprinter van.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I know you were saying, okay. So how much should a Sprinter van be? Not a Mercedes, but a good one.
I don't
I guess. I mean, since he's saying,
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Over 50?
Go ahead.
Over 50,000?
I would say that I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that sounds about right. If you look at a sticker, in the mid 50s, sounds about right. Now, there's going to be your ability to negotiate. The dealerships tend to make good money off of those vans because of the need or the demand for them. They don't carry many of them on the lot, and so they're able to retain most of the markup that's in them, traditionally speaking. But 55 sounds about right. That sounds about right.
Okay. So let's get into the meat of this, which is being, expanding, guys. Like taking it into your own hands. I know Geezer's done this, and if an app was pulled from him, if 2 apps were pulled from him, he still knows how to go out there and hustle. He's got a box truck. He's got his van. He's got I think he even has
F-150. F-150, yeah. And Taurus if need be. Yes.
I mean, basically, he's got a fleet.
That's what somebody mentioned to me. Yeah.
He's
The
got a
geezer
fleet of
fleet.
vehicles he can choose from every day. So
The geezer fleet. Yes.
yeah, unfortunately, many of these apps won't let you have multiple vehicles, so he can't list them all and say, "Give me the right
Right.
gig for the right vehicle." So I don't
Right.
know.
There is one app that will allow you to do that. One app that will.
Which one?
Guys that you deal with a lot.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, on the bidding side?
No. Both sides.
Okay.
Yeah, because I got them all listed. Man.
Oh, wait, that's right. But you're taking your vehicles over to the offer side too. See, I don't have your vehicles.
Okay.
Maybe that's what makes the difference. Like if I had a pickup with a pipe rack and a box truck, they'd let me put those on.
Yeah. Right. Right.
You
But
know, but if
anyway,
I had a car and an SUV and I have the SUV listed, they won't let me list the car.
actually, there's another app that out there that will allow you to do that. But what they'll do is basically your largest vehicle is listed first and then on down. But most of them only allow you got to choose one. You got to choose one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
So
yeah,
how are you doing your grind? I mean, I told you about my delivered store. You already said at the $100 you'd been yelling at them. So potentially deactivated, you would have been today. Especially once the other company whatever it was, something to me or something, cart to me or deliver to me. Once they start getting involved, I mean, I'm like, I can't even go off on them either because they're going to report back to delivered to time me out, or this guy's don't ever give them our orders anymore. I don't know.
Well, I was so how nothing's really changed in terms of there's a slight change. All right, so 2 years ago when I became guest with Rideshare on his family of live streams, there were three parts to what I did. It was the gig food delivery apps. I was adding on with the last mile gig delivery apps, and then I was adding on with the brokered / load board based opportunities, taking advantage of my USDOT number and MC number. Sometime last year, I started talking about cash game. And cash game basically is when you are really enterprising and a true entrepreneur because you are now offering your services to people, and your vehicle becomes literally the vehicle by which you conduct your business. Okay. So that's how you really build upon a true business model when you start doing the cash game. Now, people ask me, what is a cash game? This is it's a short but long story. I use the term cash game from my bowling days. We used to bowl pot games where a group of us come together and bowl for money. Mm-hmm. Depending on what part of the country you're from, we would say pot games, some would say cash games. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's all about a hustle. Mm-hmm. It's all about a hustle, but it's for cash. It starts with cash, but then what your ultimate goal is ideally what you'd like to do is build in such a way it becomes something that you can scale. Okay. Now, so I mentioned gig food delivery, last mile, brokered load, cash game. So I've expanded upon the cash game. I've added, every month it seems now so far in 2025, I've had some cash game entries in the money that I've earned. Also, the other thing is when first met Steve, it was the F-150, Taurus, and Sprinter van. In October last year, I added a box truck. So the box truck has been a game changer for me because it's afforded me more options. Some will look at it saying, well, damn, man, you're really, really invested in what you're doing. I guess you can say that, but you know what?
But you should be. That's what we're talking about here tonight. If you're not, it's just a tool and it should be getting you somewhere else.
Right. Yeah.
If you are in this, you should be invested.
Right. It's like Steve with the live streams. Okay. Steve knows that if he wants to present a better quality product, he's got to invest in lighting. If he does, I don't know, but let's say he has lighting. Like I've got lighting. You see the lights next to me? That's actual lighting that I bought back in 2021 before I started doing Geezer Channel. I then invested in microphone. Okay. This thing. Actually, I've invested in 2 microphones. Okay. Computer, laptops. I got 2 laptops. You know, if you want to see more results with what you're doing, you have to invest in yourself. You can't be cheap with yourself. You really can't. I could talk about from a bowling standpoint. And why I mentioned bowling, y'all, is because I have bowled I'm a PBA member. I bowled at the regional pro level, never at the national tournaments. But to be competitive out there among all the folk, you got to invest in equipment. You may find it stupid to invest in a fucking bowling ball, but I promise you, the difference sometimes between you making money and not, averaging 210 or 230, is the bowling ball that you may use. Now, what you do, but it's just investing in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, another way of saying it is, if you want to see business-like results, you have to treat it as a business. And no business thrives without investment. Some call it research and development. Some call it capital investments. That's what Steve. I think this is what Steve wanted to come out with 30 minutes ago. But my fucking Wi-Fi want to do stupid shit.
Exactly what he said. But I mean, like your box truck, is that mostly load board or offers, or
well, actually,
and
no,
brokers, or where is that revenue coming from primarily, without giving away
from the box truck? It's all 3. It's 3 of them. It's all 4 of them. I've used the box truck for gig food delivery, namely the catering opportunities, because I've been a part of $5,000 catering orders.
And you'd rather use the box truck than your van?
Well, when it's a $5,000 order, you may need a little more space.
Okay.
Now, it just so happened that I had the box truck. If not, you use what you got. Okay. So I hope folk don't take this the wrong way. I'm trying to talk this as, I'm just real talk, as some would say.
Yeah,
these
that's
days.
what we're doing. That's the whole point of Beyond the Algorithm. It is exactly what it says. We're trying to get beyond a DoorDash $2 base pay.
Right. So it just so happens my having the box truck worked out. I had not seen $4,000 and $5,000 orders. The most I'd seen strictly with a van prior to late last year, early this year, were like $3,000, $3,500 orders, and those orders did fit in the van. But when you got $5,000 worth of chicken fingers and shit like that, you can't have all that clumped all on top of each other. You got to have a little more space. I just happen to have the vehicle by which it could be transported to the location. The last mile gig delivery apps, I've had some order opportunities, that involve a box truck or required a box truck, and then the brokered opportunities. Obviously, you've got your small box trucks, your large box trucks, and the next move that I really would like to make is at some point is invest in a 26-foot box truck with a lift gate. I get that lift gate. I now have a full suite of opportunities. There's no excuse why. Well, you would think that there's no excuse why you cannot make a certain amount of money each day or week.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you this on the Curry app, and yes, it is very hard to get. I had one 2 different times as a fill-in for somebody else, once for a week, once for 2 weeks, where it's called a route runner. It's in the app. Yeah. You can hit route runner and you can say, I'm interested. Most people, they're not going to get back to you, but they might. If they do, your vehicle size doesn't matter, because you're going to go to like Ferguson Plumbing, park your car, and then you're going to actually go out there and get a 26-foot already loaded Enterprise box truck with a lift gate. And you already have your detailed route for the day. What they do is they pay you $30 an hour, but no mileage because it's not your car, $30 an hour. And if you go over 7 hours, you get time and a half. But I never, ever had a day that took me longer than 4 hours, but you always get paid 7.
Mm-hmm.
So you make $210 if it takes you 3 or 4 hours or 7 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not your car.
I have been approached with a route situation recently. In fact, I did video on it where I was delivering tires for a local tire distributor. The reason why I'm not on that route is because they didn't want to pay me. In fact, they approached me again last week because they had a defection of a driver or two that I strongly suspect. We still couldn't come together with the numbers, but that's it's not, y'all. I know that it sounds like I'm this arrogant son of a bitch and all that. It sounds like things are beneath me. It's not that, man. This is where one person that Steve's talked to, Mike Drop Barbecue, he talks about knowing your worth. I'm not going to say it's about knowing my worth. It's about understanding what you should make. Yeah. Maybe that's another way of saying it, though. But when you're out there, and you know, like in the case where they're telling me that, okay, you are supposed to make X number of dollars, and this is based on 200 miles, but then you get the longest fucking route, the longest, most fucked up route, and you're the last one back to the yard. No, we've got to and I sent them a message beforehand when I found out what my route was going to be. Hey, we got to renegotiate. So they paid me what I thought I should have gotten paid that one day, but then 45 minutes later, he said, "Oh no, your route's going to be used on an as-needed basis." All I'm getting at is, you know, you need to have some idea what you should be making. You may not have the experience yet, but over time you're going to develop that experience. You're going to develop a feel for what you should make, and it will show in what you make each week and each month. So, you know, yes, I'm well on pace to do 6 figures and all, but it's not because of me being this person who looks down on everything. No, I'm looking at what it's going to cost me to do business. And I'm not going to be paying.
But also, you like we just talked about, you've invested in your company. Mm-hmm. You've invested into a box truck, a Sprinter van. You've taken it way beyond what most people do. So, I mean, you now have to look at, is it even worth me taking the vehicle out of the driveway today?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Or for this offer, or which vehicle am I taking out? Because I'm not seeing any big loads. I'm just going to take the car or the truck or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and that's what kind of annoys me when I see people do certain opportunities for the money that they're doing it for. Yes, I understand that some people may stack. Yes, I understand some people may do it because they're trying to get their feet wet. But you know, it has a ripple effect. It has a ripple effect in many different directions. But it doesn't ultimately. When you complain about not making any money, you don't need to look too far.
Yeah. I was even going to say to people, listen, you can go out and hustle your hood. Like, you can go up to place. Don't do it while you're on a route. But if you like, I frequent a lot of places. I've been on Curry for 4 years now. Okay. So I frequent a lot of places. I know all these players. I would never do it while I'm on with them, but there's some people that have even approached me or said, "Hey, dude, you know, like," and there was a time when I said, if it's another app, if it's Dispatch or if it's Roadie, sure, wink, wink, but not Curry. But I mean, but now I'm to the, you know, I mean, look, Curry's great for me, but at the same time, I do have an understanding of how much I'm getting. It's not like Uber robbery at all, but I have an understanding that of B2B pays a lot more money, especially for hotshot expedited.
Yeah, it can
always.
Yes.
I mean, but especially to the companies like Curry or the other ones booking these, that we don't see that number. Right. I know enough people at the company. I've accidentally seen some things.
Well, imagine how much money did the company make when I did that run from South Carolina to Dallas in December. I earned $2,750. Imagine what they actually made. If I made $2,750, they paid some good money for that.
This is so Josh is asking, do you think people on Curry type apps are taking these offers right off the rip?
Yes.
On the SUV and higher? First of all, Josh, it's SUV and lower. It's everything bigger than an SUV goes higher.
Yeah, they do.
They can't put, I have to pick up 2 pallets in an SUV. I have one.
No.
So
they'll try, but then they get their asses shut down real fast.
And that's why, like, Curry doesn't try. Curry won't ever give me a pallet. They're not stupid enough because they know they're trying to be the top shelf of them all, for whatever that matters for gig apps. But do you think that? Do you agree with this?
Yeah. Do you think that people? I'm reading it, and so I got these old folk eyes. Do you think people on the Curry type apps are taking offers right off the rip on the SUV and let's spray? Actually, yes. It's not just the SUVs. It's at the sprinter van and at the box truck level or the pickup truck level. Yes, these motherfuckers will just hit that claim button or book button. Don't even think twice. And
as Geezer has many times let us know, they're called the thirsties.
Thirsties, yes.
They're
stupid ass thirsties. Stupid, dumb ass fucking thirsties, man.
What they are is they're daytime Amway, nighttime salesmen.
Whatever, man. Or as the old folks say, all day suckers, man. And the apps are like, yes, we got our thirsty. Yes. Now we make money. I mean, and it. So, do I adjust? Have I flinched? Yes, I've admitted to flinching sometimes because not reading the board. In fact, I've got a video that I'll be putting out where I lucked out today by catching two last mile gig app opportunities that were 15 minutes apart from each other. The total distance loaded was 125 miles. And the second opportunity is what bailed me out. But the first one I flinched on because I wasn't paying attention to the market and knowing that there's more people on these apps, and it makes you unfortunately the strategy that I used a year ago, I can't use in 2025. I've had to make some adjustments, unfortunately. And these apps want that. They want to be able to say, if you got an order, we've got a gazillion people out here who are willing, who are this network of people. The network of people are you and I, to facilitate your order. Mm-hmm. They're not. That's all that that's their selling point. We are blips on the algorithm. We're data points for these people. Okay, and they know that the more people, the less money they got to pay.
Yeah. And there you go. That's why I've always respected Curry the most. They have a 2+ year waiting list in every big city.
Mm-hmm.
I love the waiting list. I mean, it doesn't fix everything, but again, it helps. They're transparent. Is the pay the best ever? No, but I'm seeing twice the volume I did a year or two ago on Curry now. I saw 50 plus orders yesterday. If I turn on DoorDash, I'll see 5. Used to be the opposite. I'd see 5 on Curry and 50 on DoorDash if I worked for 2 hours. Decline. Now they're just not even there though.
You know what? I can tell you, I mentioned this 2 years ago that what I wanted to be was less dependent on the gig apps, or just not having as, the gig food delivery apps. I wanted, at one time, 90% of the money that I earned was on the gig food delivery apps. And as I mentioned on my early Gig Geezer segments, and what I had come to learn from just experience is that we're always one delivery away from deactivation. Primarily on the gig food delivery apps and the rideshare apps. That's not entirely the case with the last mile gig delivery apps. They tend to give you a few chances every month. You can fuck up 3 times before they might run you off, unless you just do something extraordinarily egregious. Then you might get ran off.
Or just beyond unprofessional. Like if you're screaming at some, but you also got to think on the B2B side, these places that we pick up and drop off from, they're not the type of people who who have the time and want to make that call on Geezer or me. This guy was they can tolerate a lot. So if they're making that call, you did something really wrong.
Really, really bad. But typically, if you show up there, people, it's like game recognizes game. If they see that you're a, industrious person and you're trying to handle things, they're cool with you. In fact, they'll go out their way to try to accommodate you with unloading things. Don't worry about it. We got it.
Yeah.
It's not like on the food side or the catering side where they may not lift a finger. It just
especially
over
once
there.
they see you not, if you don't ask, like, "Hey, can you help me?" Even though you're allowed to on some of these apps, like I never do. I just start going at it. Okay, is it here? I'll back up. I back up into the bay. I start loading
Right.
up. And once they see you hustling, they'll jump in, dude.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't
But-
ask. If somebody's available, they'll just go, "You need help?" Boom.
Right. So as I was saying with the gig food delivery side, on DoorDash, I've earned exactly $100 this year. Grubhub, $10.24. Instacart, $221. Uber Eats, $551. Now, I've earned more on the catering apps. I'm just
sorry,
under.
my pub number.
I've earned just under 3,000 on one of the catering apps. But by and large, when you compare that to what I've earned so far this year, we're talking maybe 15%. That's 15%. Everything else is either last mile or last mile, low board, or cash game. And
I
that's
don't know if
been
you've
my
ever
preference.
done that stat, but that would be interesting because you are always somebody. I mean, you and I have done enough collab lives where I've even seen you at the end of the year and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to hit it. And I remember I threw out a number and you were so close to it. And I threw it above the number you were trying to make. You're like, I'm going to try and hit 100.
You've done that
108.
actually, you know what? You've done that each of the last 2 years, man. Each of the last 2 years, you have, and you've been probably the closest. So I guess you would get the prize.
But it would be an interesting stat. I don't know if you've ever broke it down to see over the past 3 years what percentage of your income, gig app wise, went to what gig apps. Like 3 years ago, 25% of my income was DoorDash. Then 15. Now 10.
Ooh.
This year it's going to be 2. Like.
I just hadn't taken it to that level. I've just kept it categorically.
I know, but I'm saying it would be interesting because you're still making the 6-figure mark on all these years. Might be interesting for some of these food delivery people to see that.
Mhm.
You notice a trend with especially food delivery.
And that was the thing, December 2022. Now, y'all, here's the thing. Is this the call for y'all to do what Steve and I are doing? No, because, here's the thing. You can't get comfortable with any of this stuff. This stuff is dynamic. It's constantly changing. With the load boards, I mean, for example, I noticed with one of the load boards, it used to be you'd find sprinter van loads on there. It's like they've gotten away from that. It's now mostly your big trucks, your flatbeds, and maybe a smattering of your box trucks. You might see 1 or 2 sprinter van loads a day. Yeah. It's like certain load boards now are becoming specialized, and this is a trend that I just noticed this year. So you have it's. I also mentioned that the investment that you put in is time in understanding these trends, keeping up with these trends, investing in like since I have the box truck, I have to keep up with FMCSA regulations. Well, one of the things that I had to do was invest in the logbooks. I've been taking a little, scratch notebook logbook, but if I were ever to be pulled over by DOT, man, they put me out of service. I had to go and get the actual logbooks that they hold on. This is, if you don't have the clock, you have to get a logbook like this. And these logbooks, you have, when you fill in the logbooks, there's a certain way that you have to do it. And if DOT senses that there's some, impropriety going on, that could get you. But then there's the inspections, there's the hours that you have. There's just this investment of understanding what you're doing, almost what they say, like becoming a student of your game. That's what you have to be.
Because it's a business. You're taking it. It's not an app anymore. Gig Geezer is a business.
Yes.
Who occasionally uses apps. That's how I see it. That's how I am too. I mean, I hustle in a lot of, even not gig stuff. I mean, I always say, bring in 100 streams of income. That way, if you lose one, You're good.
Yes. And that's what happened to me a couple of years ago. I got deactivated on one of the apps. You can say, in effect, got deactivated. Did it stop me? No. I just kept going.
But a lot of people, and I don't know where you were at the time, but if you were only using that app and you get it and it's the first deactivation and you're thinking, I'll fight it, I didn't do anything wrong, and then you're learning that process that you can't fight it, then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, and maybe that kicks you into gear. Screw this, I'm gonna get on everything. And yes, no, not everybody's at this level yet, but I honestly, why I brought back Beyond the Algorithm is because I think a lot of what you're doing is going to apply to this. I think more and more, I mean, DoorDashers can't make a dime anymore.
Right.
You know, I mean, I even know Kim's side money plans. Once she can't make money on DoorDash, you guys might as well all quit because she lives in the best market for it. She jams it. She stays platinum or whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
And she knows how to crush it. If she can't crush it, it's over. And she's
and
still doing okay, but Kim's definitely putting out some real vibes about DoorDash lately.
Right. She used to make $300-$400, as late as 3 years ago. She would make that much, I could make those type of numbers before I got the van. But I saw that's the whole point. What I was getting at before I got into saying, hey, look, this is not the big push to get into the last mile and all that stuff. One of the explanations I said 3 years ago with veering off the way I did was that I saw my earnings stagnate back in 2022 because over 90% of the money I earned was on the gig food delivery apps. I saw that 3 years ago. Fortunately, I made the right decision at the right time because the earnings did start that precipitous path. And, I was lambasted for being a fool. Some folk had proposed to me, why don't you give me your van? Sell me your van. No, you're making a dumbass decision. You're just an old fool, man. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay.
Who called you that to your face? I just need to know. Who said that to your face? Come on.
Well, you know what? I'm pretty sure I still got the comments. I'm pretty sure I got the comments somewhere where people said these
trolling.
Things. Huh?
Nobody said it to your face, just trolling.
Well, okay, but you know what? I'm still around.
That's what I mean. People just trolling about it. You didn't do that because they have never done it or seen it. They just assume it's not possible. But they're not taking it into account. You have, again, invested in even, as far down as you went, your phone, your computers, your microphone for this, and all your 4 vehicles. These are all investments. I mean, it's not like you're a millionaire and just buying things and hopefully you get to use these toys. You're trying to make more money by getting more of these. And therefore you have to be much more selective. And that's why I'm saying for you, like I imagine for me, I know I'm about to start this, I'm about to start telling people, listen, you ever need like a couple late night things, after hours things done, let me know. Because I do know a lot of people on Curry who are like, damn it, dude. And they're there for another hour. And they're like, we really need this out tonight. We'll just put an order in for morning. But if I could get to that first, and I'm not trying to say I'm trying to cut off Curry, because I'm saying this would be when they're not doing any more offers for the day. And they know once the business hours are closed, they won't do any business with them. They'll just set it up for the next day. But if I could get to some that I know would love some after hours, I think that I could charge twice what I make from Curry on a good paying gig. And they would be like, damn, really? Like that's half of what I pay.
Probably.
And therefore
it'd be a win-win situation for you. I know of some situations like that in my market. I know someone who's done that. He's got basically a direct relationship with one customer of the app, whereby they know how much what they've been charged by the app, and so he gives them a number. Let's say they're charged like $600. They'll agree to like $400, $450, somewhere in there. They're saving money. He's making money. Yeah.
I have a friend that has a beat up old Cherokee SUV, and he does a lot of roadie here in Denver, and he does other gig apps. Now he doesn't do any at all because he was like, you mentioned tires before. He got in with Discount Tire right by my house on Colfax, downtown Denver. And instead of them having to put 100 roadie offers in for a tire here and there, it's like a route. He actually goes to them twice a day and they pay him very well.
Mhm.
Like much better than he can make on the apps.
Mhm.
And instead of having to put in, hey, you need to take these two tires, these two, they just stock his car up and say, here's your stops, go take them.
Right. Yeah, they lace those tires in. I understand the terminology now. They lace those tires in, and
and they'd rather do it. It makes more sense.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, you know what? If the money was right, I'd probably still be talking about doing that route, even though in my situation, based on even what their counter offer was, it was almost it was a slight pay cut for me. I have to tell you off air how much they were talking about and who I was dealing with. But for me, based on my numbers, it would be a slight pay cut. I would have to go out on Saturday to make up for what was missing in order for it to be a level thing. But that's another thing, y'all. When you look at those dedicated route and contract situations, know your numbers first so that you can kind of negotiate what would be equitable numbers. Because if not, then while you're in the midst of that route, you're going to feel like you've been taken.
Yeah.
And you're already in. So they're not going to renegotiate. That's the one tidbit I can say. I understood my numbers coming in. And again, based on those miles, this is why I was telling them, hey, this is good. This route is more than the 200-mile budget that y'all have. Well, come to find out, again, 45 minutes later after I finished that route, yeah, they took me off of it because they couldn't afford me.
Yeah. But at the same time, I guess, when I first started, it feels so good to land a client. So you might have underbidden, like you said, you're doing it and you're like, oh man, this isn't worth it. What did I do? But at least you did it. You landed it. Anybody could do that, let's say. But you got to get to a place. I'm there right now where I'm going to throw out a very big number. And if they're like, oh, dude, we can't do that. I don't take that as, oh, I suck. I take that as I did the right thing.
Yeah.
They're not willing to pay what I'm worth.
Well, at the same, you can't, like I learned at the car lot, you can't sell up.
Yeah.
You can't sell up.
No, you can never go back. You know what? You need to pay me more.
No, it don't work like that.
I mean, like you got to start high. And if they say that, listen, I can give you this from my experience. If they say to you, that's too much, we can't do that. They're probably not people you want to work with, because people you want to work with, if they're interested in you and like the fact that you came in heavy, they're going to counter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If they really want you, yes, they are willing to do that. I agree.
And that'll tell you something too, but like, you don't, if they're like, dude, we can't afford that. Okay. Well then stick with the gig apps where the wrong size vehicle shows up, where the person cancels, where this tire needs to be somewhere in 20 minutes, but it gets there in 6 hours. Do that instead of paying me an extra $15. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
sell it, people,
what?
And tell them that. Use my words right there. That's fine. You can keep using the gig apps that fail you every day.
In fact, I will give you the numbers that we could not agree on. I started out at one number. So based on their counter offer, we were $75 apart initially. I was willing to come down $25. So we were apart by $50. I didn't lose any sleep. I really didn't. That's not to say that I had shit lined up the next day. No, I didn't. I really didn't have stuff lined up. But, they talk about believing in yourself, like Pedro, bet on yourself. This is where you have to bet on yourself. You have to have the confidence to go out there and say that, hey, regardless, I'm gonna go out here and do something. Don't know what it is, but I'm gonna do something.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Again, it's knowing your worth. And I mean, I don't know to the extent of what vehicle you're using on the daily most of the time or whatever, but I do know we're only in May, but your goal is always 6 figures. So again, I know your goal is going to be 6 figures. I think it's going to be 117, 343 this year.
When we
That's
get off the air, Steve, I'll give you what my numbers are as of today. And
well, okay, but I'm
and-
still leaving. But that's my number. I'm not going to change it.
okay, well, just
That's what
remind me
you're
then. Remind me, or I just have to point me back to this day, and we'll see. We'll see. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, listen, there's a lot going on with the ports too. This is why what you were saying, you got to follow trends. I know independent 18 wheelers who live in the Boston, New York area who can't go to the ports right now for any work.
Right.
So they're going
And
to
what do you do?
load boards and they're spending, or they're getting 70% of what they like to make.
Yes, or less.
Or less. Yeah. And it's not,
Yeah.
I mean, it's survivable, but they don't like it. They want to go back to what they know and they're independent drivers. So,
Right. Well, you know what? I happen to have not, I think it's been a few weeks since I've done my last brokered opportunity. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's laughable in some ways with what they're looking for, what they're putting out there. Yeah. Let's just say that when they come with their counter offers, I may not curse them out, but what I'll do just for the hell of it, if you remember the type of facial expressions that Eddie Murphy used to have when he'd laugh, what I'll do sometimes is I'll send that picture as my reply to their offer.
like the old 48 hours laugh and stuff.
Yes, yeah. or the banana in the tailpipe laugh, that one.
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, I don't know if I know that a lot of people who work in the gig economy and the gig app economy, the app-based platform economy, they came from W-2s. They've never been contractors, and I see them in chats all the time. We had a political live stream today that was very in depth about New Jersey, and there was a couple people in the chat going, "We're not independent contractors." I had Kim Cavan, who is a freelance writer. I had Mike Harubi, who writes federal legislation.
Yes,
I had
remember
people
those
on
names,
there who understand this, and yes, you're by definition one. So use it.
Yes,
use it to your advantage. They're calling you one. They're doing their taxes and their earnings based on you being one. So be one. But I know some people just aren't ready for that, and they're just like, DoorDash sucks, and I'm not an independent contractor. Well, you are. This was a learning tool. Get on more apps, but also everybody needs to start thinking about, man, what is the next move? And I'm not, like if somebody were to, rent some of your time for an hour, Geezer, give me an hour's worth of advice and tell me why I should do this. Cause I'm right there. I want to, and they explain their market to you because everybody's market's a little different and you're helping them evaluate it and try and steer them into the right direction. Who are the candidates that are right for this? Because a lot of people, when I see those kind of comments, I'm like, even if I know those people and they're good people, they're not ready for that yet.
I would say, you know what? I would want to say that the person who's probably the better candidate is your higher earning person, because I would think that they would be on the cusp of making a move like that if they want to continue to make that type of money. So that cuts out a lot of folk right there.
Yeah,
you're only talking your top at the most 10%.
Yeah,
I would say your top 10% type earner in your market would be more of a candidate. If you're still trying to make your way up, you're still gonna. And maybe I'm wrong, but I would think that the person who the reason why I say it like that is because they understand money. They understand how to make money. So then they would be you would like to presume that they would have the mentality of wanting to make more of a business-like move, business-like decisions, and more of a business-like effort. Now, in my time, I've met very few people like that.
Yeah.
I will say right off the top, I can count them on two hands. I met a young lady.
I don't know. Your live podcast seems to be every week bringing on somebody else who's doing that same.
I'm talking about in my personal interactions.
Okay.
In my personal interaction, in my market. So thanks for reminding me that way. Yes, I look for folk who like CJ Cargovan. He's going to be on tomorrow.
Yeah.
CJ and I basically started about the same time. You see where CJ's at. He's really looking to expound upon he talks about building his business, doing the direct bookings. That's taking the cash game to the next level. That's scaling your cash game, what he's talking about. He's got his family involved. He's got one of his sons, his wife. That's a family business right there.
Yeah.
That's really a family business. And that, credit to him. We'll probably talk about that tomorrow. Now, when you talk of, folk here on the social media space, there are a few other people who are talking, business like mindset. But I would start off by saying that if you understand your market, you understand how much you're making as opposed to other folk. If you feel that you're in that top 10%, then you would be a candidate probably to next level what you need to do.
Yeah.
That's what I would think.
And I would say, especially if you've been doing this for years, you started on just DoorDash during the pandemic and you're like, whoa, I make $100 per order. And you've just seen it go woof and tank. And now you're multi-apping and you're like, Instacart's great. And you're like, no, it sucks. Like, you're seeing what's happening with all the apps. Follow that trend and start getting the hell out. Again, you don't have to leave. That's the coolest. There is some really cool things about the app. You don't have to ever call them and deactivate yourself.
No, keep it as an option. Always keep it as an option because you never know. I mean, hell, I did, when I did the DoorDash, I did a DoorDash order. In fact, this month, $14.50. It was a local order, it was close order and all. And then last week I did 2 Uber Eats for $35.47. So it's still an option. Okay. But it's not the first option. That's what I'm getting at. Just like rideshare used to be my first option. It's no longer that first option. Gig food used to be my first option. It's no longer that first option, but it's still an option. Hell, I even did 5 rideshare rides last year, and I had not attempted any since 2020.
Yeah,
it's still an option.
Yeah.
So you don't want to cut it off, but you want to add to your cache.
Yeah,
you want to add to your cache of options. It's all about giving yourself options. Most businesses will tell you about not. Most businesses, the ones that. Tell me one business that really just sells one thing these days anymore.
Tires.
I
don't know. No, there isn't.
I mean,
most businesses even have moved beyond their genre or their niche.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. They're no longer one-trick ponies.
Yeah.
They're no longer one-trick ponies. And, we can't be one-trick ponies either.
No.
We can't be. If that's the case, then you will. I mean, it's like, I've used this analogy many times. If the water is stagnant, it stinks. You will stink too, just like the water.
Yeah.
There's got to be some flow of the water in order for it not to stink.
Yeah. Gigwise is saying here that he's finding out a lot of restaurants are delivering big catering orders themselves because Easy Cater is gouging them. I kind of wondered how long it would take before that happened. All it takes is a driver who comes into a place enough times like you, Tim, and all of a sudden a manager says to you something and you're put into a position. How much are you making on this? Because maybe they're finally looking at their books and going, why is this so much?
Right. You know what? I mentioned this as well. In fact, in a couple of videos. Well, in the last one, in the last 2 videos, there was a medical sales rep. Ironically, a medical sales rep, and it happens to be a guy. The last catering order it was one from last week. One of the ones from later part of last week. I flipped him my card and told him, hey, look, if you don't want to feel like dealing with the apps, Easy Cater, yeah. I flipped on the card. And then on Sunday, as it turned out, the person at the restaurant whom I first met was like the bartender and assistant manager. She's now the proprietor. or the owner of the restaurant, I flipped her my card as well.
Mhm.
Now, another investment, people say this all the time, and I've said it, but maybe people don't listen to the old guy. If there's another investment in yourself, get fucking business cards. If you can't get a fucking business card, create a PDF and just email them that, or the QR code type thing. But
yeah, by the way,
cards,
guys, if you Google QR code creator, the first 5 that come up are free.
right.
That's
So what I do is I've created a PDF because of me being the writer and all. I've created what I say about the PDF, a brochure. You don't always have to walk around with a sheet of paper anymore. You can create the PDF and email it to them. Ask them for their email address.
Mhm.
Or you could take a picture of your brochure and text message them that. Okay. But yes, business card, because sometimes people ask you, do you got a business card? I'm like, hey, yes, here we go. Yeah.
I was thinking about getting those arm lanyards.
Yeah.
I was thinking about getting that with a QR code and putting my business cards behind it, being able to give that to them, but also just scan that. It'll just hit me up.
Right. Now, one of the next investments that I'm going to do at some point, I've already created a new vehicle magnet. I've already created it. It's just a matter of me paying, going to the website and getting them made. But you want to, sometimes if you got a vehicle magnet, update your vehicle magnet.
Yeah.
These are the investments that businesses make. And here we are in the gig economy space. A lot of us get into this just really with the mindset of just making extra money. And then you realize, hey, this can be some decent money. All right. And so as with anything, the more you get into it, you should realize that, hey, what are ways that I can add to this? If you're not adding to it, you're going to be stagnant.
Yeah,
you're going to be stagnant.
I mean, there was Tim saying he needed business cards, and then I talked to Tim a lot, and he's saying I've started giving out my info. I'm not trying to be mean, but like if you don't have a business card, that's great, but they're not gonna have the card to remember, and also they might not take it as seriously.
Right.
And yet business cards are like $1. You can go to Vistaprint and get them for free as long as you allow Vistaprint on the back.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Now,
I mean, for $10, you can get it with it off the back and get 2-sided prints of like 250.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not an investment there. It's, I mean, that's not an investment.
It's really the time. It's the time of doing it. That's and time is an investment piece. Mm-hmm. It's an investment piece. I've made the analogy in the video about when you have kids. I mean, how much time did you invest with Max? Max is off to college now. No, well, coming along. How much time did you spend with Max, man? I bet more than
because I'm a single dad, not co-parent. I'm a single dad.
But
24/7, 365, just me.
All right. What I'm going to say is that what I think Max will remember most looking back is not the gifts. It's the time that you spent with him.
Mm-hmm.
It's the time that you spent with him and the wisdom that you imparted to him. Okay.
Good, because there weren't many gifts. I'm just kidding.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough.
I mean, he's had a great life, and you know what? He has this immaculate work ethic now. So I mean,
right. So if you have as a parent, if you do what you should, you're investing time and wisdom with your child. As someone who's looking to earn money, we keep going back to this. How much time do you invest in yourself? How much time are you investing in yourself? I mean, if for nothing else, if you exercise, if you're trying to lose weight, you can't lose weight by just looking at the wall and looking at that glass of water. You got to put in some. I mean, if you can. You got to put in some effort. You got to put in some time to lose weight. Your metabolism is not enough to lose weight.
Yeah. You got to really want it. If you
Mhm.
really want it, you'll do it. If you just kind of think this would be great,
Mhm.
like there's no magic wand. You got to
No,
do it.
no, you're not. And the thing is, too, you're not going to come in for all the stuff that we're sharing. You're not going to come in making 5 figures.
No.
You're going to get your ass kicked. But this is where you doing your homework, you asking the questions, really trying to put in your best effort. Where over time you will see the results where you do get to a point of profitability. You should be able to.
Mm-hmm.
Will everyone reach profitability? No. It's just like the race, man.
But there's people working the gig apps 90 hours a week who can't pay their bills, so they're not making it either.
Right. And you know what?
Maybe maybe even work a lot less, but maybe work 80 hours and put 10 towards just really brainstorming outside the box. What else could you do?
Mm-hmm.
Like one thing I could do, I'll give you guys an idea. I don't know if Geezer does this, but if I land a B2B client, since they really care about expediting and stuff, I can tell them things like, I have another order I have to pick up along the way. I'll be there by this time, be very exact. Or I can say, or offer an expediting service where I can let you track my ride.
Right. Well, you got the
apps watch out me there in real time.
Don't you have the apps out there you can do that where you can offer them to track you? Aren't there tracking apps that you can?
Yeah, but I think you'd need to get them to get the app too.
Okay.
What I would like to do is have something, there's people building out these be your own rideshare service, be your own DSP, all these things. Like, I think that, there just needs to be something simple. I mean, I can do it, but I can do it from my phone. I can and then take them off the minute the order's done.
Well, the poor man's way would be Google.
Right. Or just like I have an iPhone, I could do share my location.
That's it. With Google. Same. Yeah.
I can do that. And then as soon as the delivery's over, just pull it.
Right.
But dude, I can tell you from working B2B, for those of you that haven't done it or have done very little, that is a huge thing to them. To know, to be able to watch you delivering, in case that client calls or whatever, and you're stuck in traffic and they're like, dude, when's he going to be here? I got 10 people ready to paint at this new build and we got nothing to do till it gets here. And that person can go, hold on, without going to, did this guy just take my stuff and leave? He can go, oh, he's 10 minutes out.
Right. You know what? It's that Dallas run. I've never even mentioned this. A lady called me. Shit, I don't know where. I think I was in Texas. Well, I might have been in Louisiana when she called, but she was tracking me. She was tracking me the entire time. And when she called me, she could tell that I had made pretty good time getting to where. And I told her that I told her that I'd be spending a night probably in Shreveport, and that I would be there before noon the next day.
Yeah. And
I was there just as I said I would. And I was in contact with her once I got to the facility. I made contact with her. And everything, she got this, she got the stuff just as she put it in the F-150. So, but it started really the day before with her calling me and tracking me. It was very sensitive medical equipment. So I understood the investment and all, but yes, people appreciate when you do as you say you're going to do, you get there when you say you're going to do. They appreciate stuff like that. They do remember you.
Yeah. And I can say, for an example, like Sherman-Williams and Curry's connection, they mask your number, like my number. But if I go to Sherman-Williams and I'm taking 900 pounds of paint, they can call me through a 555 number that's masked, and it'll go to my phone. I remember when I was first doing these, I was taking what was the shorter route to get to 20 miles away from a location. And I exited, and the manager who I've got to know since extremely well, and he's very cool. He's one of my favorite people to do work with here in the city. He goes, hey, Steven, he said, why did you take, or why? He goes, don't take that exit. He said, for some reason, he goes, I don't know which mapping app you're using, but for some reason they're not showing it. But up ahead, about a mile off the exit, the road is completely shut down. They're just going to turn you back to the highway. He's like, get back on the highway and take the other route that's 2 minutes longer, which is exactly what I saw on my app. But I was like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
You know, like he's watching me real time. I'm doing a 25-minute drive. He's like, no. That's going to turn it into 40. Don't
Mhm.
exit there. I'm going, how the hell do you know where I
Hey.
am? You know, but again, I mean, it should be me giving people that, not Curry or
Mhm.
anybody.
Right.
I'm glad they do, because that's what keeps the customer happy. But at the same time, that should be me. And again, if Curry's charging 3 times what they pay me, you know, like, I'm not saying I want to make exactly what they do, but there's hours that they're not really operational. Even if the business is saying, yes, the other side is there, they're going to work into the night. We got to get this knocked out. Could you do this? And instead, the Curry system sends it through as a scheduled and doesn't allow anything else because they put in their business hours. So if it says set 9 to 5 and it's 5:30, it'll just say you can schedule it for morning. Whereas I know people who stay afterwards and are like, dude, this has to go out. It has to. Well, I mean, I don't know if I'm not, you know, that's just would be dumb of me to not take it.
Right.
So I really, like you were asking where I'm at, like once Max goes to school in August, I am going to up my game. And I mean, and really, like everybody watching too is going to see my channel completely morph.
Mhm.
You're going to see me going into, I mean, like I might even take you on some laser gigs with me. Who knows? But you're going to see all of the gig work I'm doing. And I'm going to put it all together. I haven't been able to do any long-term laser shows because of Max. I mean, now he's an adult, but you know, it's a lot of things have been put on pause, like you were saying, while I'm raising my son.
Mhm.
And the flexibility was more important. Well, once he goes to school, the flexibility is important, but guess what's more important? The money.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he's going to be calling you.
Right. But I mean, like, I'm not somebody that minds that. Like, if somebody's willing to pay me $400 to work from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m., sure, I'll do that over grinding all day.
Mhm.
I am that guy. I'm willing to do odd hours, weird stuff. You know, I mean, not Craigslist weird, but like, but you know what I
Right.
mean? Like a true job with people I've worked with before who are like, dude, because the best multi-state orders that you guys have ever seen me take on Curry, the Vegas one, the New Mexico, the 2 Salt Lake cities, and the Montana one, all came in between midnight and 4 a.m. Every one of those long hauls.
So you're one of those that be up at all times in the night, be looking at your phone, huh?
Well, I do leave it on alert, and I'm not up all night with it. I'm
Okay.
not. Yeah. I mean, I do go to bed on time, you know, and if I do get up, I don't look at it, because
Mhm.
usually that Curry alert wakes me up, because I know that's a long haul. It's worth looking at.
Mhm.
You know,
Okay.
I mean, I mean, the other things, like, you know, yeah, I mean, I guess if another app started bothering me, I would just find a way to location services turn it off at night. If it was just beep, but none of the other ones beep too much after like 8. It's really kind of,
Okay.
you know, at least my 8 mountain time. They don't really, nothing's happening until about 5 a.m. the next day.
Right. Again, I apologize about this. You mentioned about the 8 o'clock. I thought 8:30 for some reason, and I calibrated myself for 8:30 for whatever reason. So I'm glad that I got it when I did. Just
No,
you
yeah.
he texted me and said, "Hey man, you got the link?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got the link," you know. And I probably responded rather, nonchalantly. And then again, I'm looking at, oh no, I'm letting him down.
No, you didn't at all. And I think this is a great conversation. Again, when Max goes to college, everybody's going to see me and go, what the hell is changing? Because I don't have a restriction right now.
Mhm.
You know, not that I do right now. He's an adult. We have a dog,
Mhm.
so he takes care of the dog too. So I mean, I'm set to go do something, but I got to give him some heads up. I got to give him some notice. It's just more. There's just a lot to it, and I'm also trying to spend time with him and all this before he goes away. But once he leaves for college, it is time for me to like just blow it up. And you guys are going to see me take it to a next stage, because I'm not just going to be sitting here just grinding gig apps. I won't deactivate myself. I'll still have them.
Mhm.
But we'll, just like we always do when I do a live ride along or something, we'll joke about them. I'm okay. I got the apps open. Oh, this one's offering $1. for 100 miles. You know, like
That's your joke right there.
you know.
That's the joke.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Geezer, always it's always awesome having you on here. And I mean,
Well, thanks, Steve.
you guys need to check out his channel. And every Wednesday night at
9 o'clock Eastern.
9 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, 9 p.m. Eastern on Gig at Gig Geezer. You guys can catch his Speaking Truth.
No, I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
I'm speaking. Sorry, I just always, with certain people, I always think truth. I don't think it with everybody, so take it as a
Well,
compliment.
thanks. Thanks. Yeah, you're not saying I'm full of shit, huh?
And his guests, you know, like, you know, they're just, and the guests are really interesting because they're talking about this same stuff too, and what they're doing in their market. And you do see way more than we already know. Market to market with the apps is different. You see way more with these people like Geezer and these other people he has on, how they're running their businesses, how they're doing in their market. But cost of living is different. There's so many factors.
Right. There's
so many factors.
A guy from a few weeks ago, Sam Randall. I had an idea. As we got to talking, I'm like, this dude's does more than I do. He's on the west coast of Florida, but just dollar wise, he earned more than I did last year by shit. And he said like he earned 130 something thousand last year. I'm like, damn, I need to be listening to him. Yeah. But you know, it was good to have him on because he gave a different perspective of some of what I've been talking about, and maybe folk listening to him as well. You know, CJ Cargo Van, who'll be on tomorrow. He's out of San Antonio. A lot of folk check out his channel, so I would like to think that there are folk who are going to be checking him, you know, checking it out because of him tomorrow. And he started the same way, gig apps. He tried the load boards, but he's found his niche, and that's where he's trying to build from. Yeah. I mean, the goal is to try to give different voices to highlight different people. Yes, and Steve has been on a couple of times. In fact, Steve was my very first guest back in November, 6 months ago, and then he was back on several weeks back. So yeah, I asked Steve to come on because he gives the learned perspective of you know, some of the things that are going on from the legislative standpoint, his knowledge of the gig apps, yeah, and the fact that he's a funkster and so he likes to funk around. Now, do you know what a telephone bill is now?
Yes. In fact, you guys, I mean, we're just talking about some funk here as we roll out, but I got to say, like, if you guys don't know, like, I listen to a lot of P-Funk, a lot of George Clinton, but a lot of Bootsy too. And I would tell a lot of you that probably for a lot of you, maybe check out Bootsy. There's some really, like, you're all on YouTube. There's some amazing Bootsy shows. Go search Bootsy Collins 2015 Howard Theater. Go watch that show. And you tell me, no matter what music you like, you tell me you don't like that.
Well, and here's another thing about William Bootsy Collins, y'all. He was the bass player for James Brown.
Yep.
When James really took it up another level of funk, William Bootsy was the one who got on the one with him.
I mean, all those guys interacted and mingled. I mean, Fred Wesley, Maceo Parker were in P-Funk, and then they in the original JB Horns. And so, I mean, they've all, they've all intermingled.
Yes.
But Bootsy's projects on his own are pretty intense too. So, but as we always do here, Geezer, thank you for joining. And instead of doing the normal rollout, I have a different rollout that I had to find it tonight. And luckily I didn't think I had it, but I when I was waiting for Geezer to come on and Josh was saying I was late, I didn't even correct you, Josh. I found it and I uploaded it, and it's just 3 minutes, but I don't sign off, you guys. Watch this, because look, we're trying to turn you on to a way to do better business, but at the same time also get into some new music. And this is some stuff that you can be driving around to, and it makes your day go quicker. So everybody, we're back here next week, and I got Joe on the go, who used to be Let's Play DoorDash, and now what Joe does is he's completely left DoorDash and the gig apps completely, and now he buys storage lockers in Detroit.
Okay.
So beyond the algorithm, one of us who for years was doing this is now buying storage lockers just like Storage Wars. You know, so he's doing it. I mean, he's been doing it. His garage is his eBay store, and he goes and he looks at the storage units when they go for sale. They open the door. You can't go in, but you can look.
Mhm.
Does all that, and he's been buying them. I got Josh B coming on, and we're going to talk about some other things too. And then I got Dumpling. So I mean, like, that's what I'm trying to do here. Is I'm not going to bring on DoorDash people. I'm not going to bring on Uber people. I mean, unless they're making a move out of it. You know, not that I'm never going to talk about it, because I have other things that I do where I can talk about that. But on this show, I just want to talk about getting out of it. So it's going to almost conflict with I wonder how YouTube will react, because it's going to conflict with my channel. Like, let's talk about gig ads, except for on this night, let's talk about not being on them.
Hey man, look, you know what? You know what? I'm gonna give this example. There's a Asian restaurant in this town called Yemisi. Yemisi is known for the train depot, where the Marine recruits used to get off the train and then would be shipped off to Parris Island. And Parris Island is like an hour away. This Asian restaurant has been there when all the other things have gone. People know about the place. That, you know, so if people, what I'm saying is that if they want to find out what's going on, they'll find you, man. They'll find you.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. Again, guys, check out Gig Geezer. I know most of you in here already know him, but I'm sure some have passed through, or some roll across this video wondering who this good-looking gentleman to my side is. And
the foul mouth person with the hat.
Yeah, or you can call him that, whatever.
Or with the $5 words and $10 phrases sometimes. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, but a guy with experience who's making more money than most people out there hustling. I mean, that's fair to say. It just is. I know a lot of people who grind, and it's what it is. So with that, you guys, please enjoy this. Don't leave. I can see who leaves, by the way. Not which ones of you, but if you guys leave, you suck. So stick around. And this is how we sign off every time we have Geezer.
Okay.
Got to leave, y'all. Gotta go. Something's missing that I need. Whatever it is that's blowing in my mind, this friend, they say, bring up a child, and the way he shall go, he shall not depart. And oh, when they said it, oh, she touched my heart, yeah.
For letting us come into your mind tonight. Until the next time.